So, chances are you read Arthur Miller's famous play The Crucible back in school, and you probably remember it as this super chilling story about the Salem witch trials. But what if I told you that story was just a mask for something much, much bigger happening in Miller's own time? Today, we're here to peel back the layers of this American classic to find its hidden meaning. I saw Goody Proctor with the devil? Just think about that. A single sentence, screamed in a courtroom, and a life is completely ruined. That is the terrifying power at the heart of this entire play. It's the spark that lights the fire.
Okay, so let's set the scene. It's Salem, Massachusetts, 1692. We're talking about a small, super devout, and pretty isolated Puritan community, and they are gripped by a fear of the unknown. In this kind of pressure cooker of suspicion, accusing someone of witchcraft becomes the ultimate weapon. I mean, literally just words with zero proof are enough to destroy reputations, families, and even lives.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. Miller wrote this play in 1953, but it's set way back in the 17th century. So you have to ask yourself, was he really just writing about witches? The short answer, nope, not at all. Miller had something much more current and, frankly, much more personal on his mind. He was using the past like a giant mirror to show everyone what was happening in his present. You see, Miller was living right in the middle of the Red Scare of the 1950s, and when you put them side by side, the parallels are absolutely stunning. In 1692, the fear was of the devil. In the 1950s, it was communism. The public accusations in Salem were a dead ringer for the public hearings of the House Un-American Activities Committee, or HUAC, and in both times, the result was exactly the same. Ruined reputations, destroyed careers, and shattered lives, all based on nothing more than an accusation. The way he did this is with a pretty brilliant literary tool called an allegory. It's basically a story where everything, the characters, the events, represents something else, revealing this hidden, deeper meaning. So by writing about witch trials, Miller could directly critique the anti-communist witch hunts that were happening all around him, without getting immediately censored or blacklisted himself. It was a really smart and incredibly brave act of protest. So the whole thing hinges on understanding how this allegory really works, and it all comes down to one simple, absolutely terrifying concept: the power of an accusation. In Salem, actual evidence was, secondary. It didn't really matter. All you needed was for someone to point a finger. The whole idea of innocent until proven guilty was flipped on its head. You were guilty until you could prove the impossible, that you weren't a witch. And it was the exact same thing in the 1950s. A simple accusation of being a communist could end your entire career overnight. So how does something like this escalate so quickly? Well, when one person's fear gets amplified by an entire community's paranoia, you get something way more dangerous. You get mass hysteria. Hysteria is basically a collective delusion. It's that tipping point where raw emotional fear just completely takes over and kicks logic right out the door. It's like a social virus where all the normal bonds that hold a community together, things like trust, reason, just being a good neighbor, they completely dissolve. And the process, the formula for it, is terrifyingly simple. Step 1, you identify a common enemy, an other. Witches, communists, it doesn't really matter who. Then, step 2, the accusation is made. Somebody points a finger. And just like that, step 3, fear spreads way faster than reason ever could. And the final terrible step? The community turns on itself. Neighbor against neighbor, friend against friend, until the very fabric of society just unravels. Now, I know this might all seem like ancient history, or something you'd only see in an old black and white movie. But these patterns are timeless. And that brings us to the most important part of this whole thing, why it still matters, right now, today. So I want you to just take a second and really think about it. Where do we see these same dynamics of accusation and fear and collective hysteria playing out in our world? Well, the source material points to a couple of modern phenomena where you can see similar dynamics, like in the speed and, let's be honest, the fury of social media mobs, or in the intense debates around cancel culture. In these online spaces, an accusation can go viral in minutes. Public judgment can be incredibly swift and just overwhelming, and it often happens before all the facts are even out there. The forum might have changed from a village green to a digital screen, but the mechanics of public shaming can feel eerily familiar. And all of this leaves us with one last really powerful question to think about.
When a whole community gets swept up in a moment of collective fear, whether it's 1692, 1953, or today, who really holds the power? Is it the person being accused or the one pointing the finger? The Crucible suggests the answer is just as terrifying now as it was back then.